One of the most efficient ways in Revit to control the visibility and color of elements is to use view filters. Revit 2022 introduces new filter rules, phase created and phase demolished, to help manage the display of phases in your project. As an example, you can define a filter for a specific phase created and use it to change the color of interior walls such that walls created in phase 1 will display as green in a 3D view. You might create another filter to change the color of phase 2 interior doors by setting phase created equals phase 2 to orange. This makes it easier to visually locate elements and understand their phases at a glance in your model. Take advantage of phase parameters in your view filters with Revit 2022.
To reduce the number of tag families in your project and to associate elements from different categories with each other, you may use multi-category tags in Revit. This feature is especially useful when several categories share the same tag graphics, or when shared parameters are utilized across several categories. In Revit 2022, this feature has been extended to support all existing taggable categories, including subcategories for stairs and structural connections, structural internal load categories, analytical categories, and much more. This feature improves efficiency when tagging elements across multiple categories in Revit 2022.
In Revit 2022, you can control the display of properties when multiple elements having different parameter values for those properties are selected, scheduled, and tagged. When you select multiple elements, any properties that they share are reported. In past releases, if parameter values for the properties shared by the selected elements were the same, that value was reported. However, if the values differed, no value was shown. Now, when multiple elements are selected and those parameter values differ, they report either as varies or as a user-defined custom text string. This behavior is consistent in the properties palette, schedules, and tags. This feature reduces confusion and improves productivity by enabling you to quickly identify varying parameter values for selected element properties.
Autodesk Revit 2022 includes a native, configurable 2D PDF export feature to improve documentation efficiency. The PDF export dialog offers similar options to the print dialog, such as the ability to export the visible portion of a view or a user-defined selection of views and sheets. PDF naming rules may be set up within the Export Setup section of the dialog. You can use this feature to generate PDF file names automatically based on your project or shared name parameters. You can also choose to have the exporter detect output size and orientation automatically from the selected views and sheets. The native PDF exporter in Revit 2022 offers familiar and configurable features to improve documentation efficiency. Revit 2022 introduces new family categories for equipment and building elements. These new categories include audiovisual devices, fire protection, food service equipment, hardscape, medical equipment, signage, temporary structures, and vertical circulation. Users can assign customized generic models to these categories and control their visual display as needed. These categories have the same functionality as existing Revit categories. Families assigned to these categories can be defined as cuttable in views and can be scheduled, tagged, and exported. These new categories make it easier to properly categorize equipment and building elements in Revit 2022. In Revit 2022, you are able to preserve callouts when deleting parent views. The callout view is able to be switched between the parent view and all intersecting views. The callout views can be hidden by the Hide Scales Coarser Than setting from the Properties palette. Setting the parent view to none will make the callout independent for the parent view. Callouts without a parent view are visible in intersecting views. Dependent callout views are preserved when the parent view is deleted. You are asked if you would like to make callout views independent or delete the callout view. With Revit 2022, there is an option to make callouts independent and preserve callouts when deleting parent views.
In Revit 2022, you can place rebars of exact dimensions aligned to any reference in the project with just 2 clicks. This reduces the number of steps needed to create bars accurately and precisely. This feature is huge for rebar modeling, and it is a real game changer for rebar detailers working in Revit. This new method of placing rebar improves Revit's ease of use and your productivity in modeling reinforced concrete details, both cast-in-place and precast. In Revit 2022, settings used during rebar placement are now maintained for the duration of the Revit session. There is no longer a need to reapply rebar settings for each set. Options such as layout, placement plane, placement orientation, rebar shape and rebar type keep their values when restarting rebar placement. This is applicable to shape-driven and free-form rebar. This new feature improves your productivity by reducing the time needed to manage rebar settings.
Revit 2022 provides a set of enhancements to the revision settings. Create custom revision numbering sequences to support multiple deliverable packages. Specify the minimum number of digits in the revision sequence to maintain a standardized length in alignment with ISO 19650 and other local or international standards. Reference a project stage or phase with a custom prefix or suffix, and customize the sequence characters to meet your project-specific needs. Share revision numbering sequences using transfer project standards. Improve your project documentation with the new revision numbering enhancements in Revit 2022.
When working with a long schedule, it is helpful to split the schedule into segments. Prior to this release, these segments were not able to be placed on a separate sheets. Revit 2022 introduces split and place functionality for schedules, enabling users to split schedules and specify destination sheets for each of their segments. Using this tool, the schedule may either be split into equal segments across the selected sheets or broken into segments of a user-defined height. You can now filter by family and type parameters in schedule and material takeoffs. This improves family filtering in single or multi-category schedules. These enhancements give you better control over the filtering and display of schedules in your Revit projects, helping you work more productively and efficiently. In Revit 2022, Rebar detailers can assign shape codes to custom bent freeform bars, enabling you to provide better fabrication instructions. For example, you can now distinguish between bars to be bent outside versus the shop. You can manually assign the desired shape code to bars per their local fabrication conventions or the code of any shape loaded in the project. This new functionality enables you to provide more complete bending instructions, leading to more accurate rebar bending schedules for fabrication. Schedules often include multiple items sharing the same characteristics. A key schedule is a special type of Revit schedule that lets you assign groups of parameter values to elements like rooms or doors based on a shared key value. The major advantage of using key schedules is that they can save you a lot of time entering data. You enter the parameter values once in the key schedule. Any object that has the same key value assigned will automatically receive all those parameter values. In Revit 2022, shared instance parameters associated with categories now appear as available fields when creating a key schedule for that category. The key schedule filters compatible parameters that may be included. You can also add shared parameters to the category when you create a key schedule. The use of shared parameters in key schedules make it possible for a key schedule to drive geometry or control visibility in families. When a key is applied to an element, properties assigned by the key become read-only in the Properties palette, and Revit indicates the status along with a tooltip for each parameter in the key schedule. Parameter values derived from the key value display an equal symbol to the right of the value. Use shared parameters in families, and then include the shared parameter in a key schedule to control family geometry using the key schedule. This new feature will help you save time and avoid errors in entering data into your projects through key schedules in Revit 2022.
In past releases, it was time-consuming to hide the NonCore layers of walls on plan views. Revit 2022 introduces a parameter to help you display only the wall core layers quickly and easily. In the Visibility Graphics dialog box, deselect the new NonCore Layers option available under Walls to display a simplified representation of walls in your 2D views. Wall layers located between the core boundaries of the wall assembly will remain visible. This feature improves your productivity by helping you quickly create easier-to-read plan views in Revit.
Revit 2022 allows you to place spot slopes and spot elevations directly on ramp elements. Add the spot labels and spot elevation annotations on a ramp run in plans, elevations, sections, and 3D views. Change the annotation parameters to meet your documentation standards. Improve your documentation workflow with the ability to place spot slopes and elevations on ramps in Revit 2022.
Revit 2022 enables tags to be applied to curtain wall mullions. Navigate to the Loaded Tags and Symbols dialog to view the current list of tags and symbols assigned to family categories. A new category has been added for curtain wall mullions. Here, you may choose to load the tag for curtain wall mullions provided with Revit 2022, or create your own tag specifically for this category. To add tags individually, go to the Annotate tab and select Tag by Category. Then select a mullion. The tag is created and automatically populates with information from the mullion element, as defined in the tag family. You can also use Tag All to add tags to all elements of a given type at once. This feature improves documentation workflows for curtain walls in Revit 2022. When you rotate a tag in Revit, you might like to control the angle value precisely. A new angle parameter for tags, found in the Properties palette, makes it easier to control the display angle of a rotated tag. If you rotate the tag with the rotate command, the angle value is automatically calculated, but you can enter a specific value afterwards if you like. This feature is easy to apply to tags in your views, giving you better control over your project documentation. If a view in your project contains similar elements, you may prefer they share a tag. In Revit 2022, you may now apply a single tag to multiple elements and even indicate the total quantity if desired. Simply select the tag and open it for editing by clicking the Edit Family button. Here, you can modify the tag behavior by editing the label and adding the new host count parameter found within the multi-liter tag category. You can enter a suffix such as X for multiply and customize its appearance. In this example, the text will display in an orange color and bold font on the documentation. When everything is configured as desired, you can load the modified family back into your project. Once a tag has been placed in the model, you can add or remove leaders to similar host elements at any time by selecting the tag and using the Add Remove Host option on the Contextual tab of the ribbon. When you do this, the quantity of host elements is automatically tracked and displayed both in the tag itself and in the Properties palette. You also have access to specific snap points to modify the leader lines according to your preferences. These tag enhancements in Revit 2022 add flexibility and will help you create more accurate, readable, and efficient annotations when documenting your projects.
Revit 2022 enables designers to control the slopes of the interior and exterior surfaces of a wall. To get started, enable one of the wall assembled layers to display a variable thickness. This will expose the cross-section type parameters where you can define the slope angle of the interior and exterior surfaces. Change any wall to taper representation by changing its cross-section parameter to tapered. Update the sloping angles using instance overrides or the wall temporary dimensions. Align wall-hosted components to the slope interior or exterior faces of a wall. Taper walls will display clean joints at corner conditions. Design slope wall sections more quickly and easily using the taper wall features in Revit 2022.